Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central. Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wiener.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. Folks, you found the Barbecue Central show. Yeah, you did it. It's a show that talks about barbecue and grilling stuff. It's the ESPN of the live fire cooking and grilling industry. Did that Greenberg and Beadle and Jalen Rose show on ESPN get tanked? I thought I just read a story before the show started. Or did they kick Beadle off? She's good to look at. I like her. Anyway, email John Dawson, 4 words as the subject line. Pat LaFrida, pure gold. I'd love to hear his thoughts on boutique meats and branding like Certified Angus, which, fun fact, by the way, Certified Angus beef located right here in Wooster, Ohio, boy. Thank you, John. Also from John Dawson, subject line, undercookage, Remps, I bet I'm a couple steps behind you, but I bet Pat LaFrida can provide some great insight on international steak undercookage. That was something I didn't get to.
Get that big stuff out of here.
If you could see my outline of what I thought I was going to get to and what I got to, you might wonder if we ever did the interview, if you're just going to go ahead and check out the outline that I did. Well, the good news is I'm pretty much set up for the next few interviews. So Pat broke down a lot of stuff, went a lot deeper than I thought he was even going to bother to go. So from an informational standpoint, absolutely great. From I want to get through my outline and F everybody else, it was not great.
Get that big stuff out of here.
But yeah, I mean, I love getting... So it's great to see somebody where they are in his current station of success. I mean, LaFrida Meats is far and away the pinnacle of that portion of the industry. I mean, you heard him 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. I mean, how much meat are they processing? Servicing New York City, but not only that, it's not just going into the distributing side now to restaurants and the food biz, but it is retail. So you and me, my Aunt Betty, we can all get Pat LaFrida Meats just like you're going to get at the steakhouses. Oh, by the way, if you go on to LaFrida.com, you go into the dry aging room and you can get varying cuts. You can get 1 inch, 1.25 inches. I think it goes up to 2 inches. Might have to buy a pair or 4 at a time. Certainly 1.5 inches ribeye, 70 days. If you get 2 or 4, I mean, you're probably going to be in that $300 range. I mean, I'm sure. But it's an experience, right? I mean, who doesn't like dry aging? And as we've all learned through the dry aging courses that we've taken through 2018, 30-day dry age is where you get it for tenderness and peak taste. But once you start stretching through into past day 30, like 40 and 50 and 60 and 70, that's when, as I've called it, the funk factor starts to go in. So as you're reading LaFrida's website, he strongly cautions, hey, if you ain't down or you don't know what a 50 or 70-day age dry aged steak tastes like or might taste like, we recommend you start a little less aged and then work your way up to it. If you're somebody that doesn't like blue cheese, if you can't get down on that, or the funkiness and earthiness, it's almost like wine to a certain degree. Some wines you eat, they're like that new age, fruit forward, blast of fruit in your face. A lot of snobs hated on that. You know, when I was drinking, I was an appreciator of everything. I liked new age. I liked high alcohol. I liked the more old standby or classics, big tannin. But whatever your palate is, so I would totally agree. I had a 40-day or maybe it was a 50-day dry-aged steak when I was down in Columbus, and that did have an approachable funk factor. Was it over the top? No. Was it there? Every single bite it was there. And it was delicious for me. So I'm ready to make that jump to 70 days. So I would do it. I would do it. LaFrida Meat, or LaFrida.com, LaFrida Meat Purveyors, and follow Pat at PatLaFrida.com. More from him to come, for sure, for sure. Still to come on this show, the Embedded Correspondents segment in 10 minutes' time. Now, let me tell you something. I made mention of it to Pat just this last segment. I have had it. I will not take it anymore.
Andrew, you are not the father.
That's right. I will not take any more the hating on the Bubba Burgers. Forget it. Don't bring it to me.
Big stuff out of here.
I Instagram storied my dinner cook today. Okay? Showed you the grill, showed you the new patio setup, broke out Quattro Bubba Burgers, brown box. Didn't go Angus this time. Brown box. 2 for me, double cheese. 1 for middle, 1 for youngest daughter, no cheese. Toasted buns all the way around. Here's the post or the direct message that I get back from an Instagram follower. No names, please. And I quote, "Seriously? Come on, Greg. The 10th circle of hell is for Bubba Burgers too." Why? Here's what I have to say. Why does it have to be a 10th circle of hell avenue? I mean, is it not enough that I'm already going to the 10th circle of hell? Because every once in a while, I like a well-placed boiled hot dog in a non-toasted bun, or steamed for that matter, with a lot of ketchup on the top. I like that. You know what else I like? I like double cheese Bubba Burgers. I like them with the bacon and cheese mixed in them. I don't like onions, so I don't like that. I like the Angus, and I like the original. So if you're telling me, seriously, Bubba Burgers? What do you have against Bubba Burgers? Why do you hate Bubba Burgers so much? What have they ever done to you except be affordable and delicious and consistent each and every time? I know what I am getting with a Bubba Burger. I know how to cook them. I know how to make them juicy and succulent. Did I mention double cheese? Yeah. I don't... Believe me, Instagram person that direct messaged me, I was of the same ilk before I had my first Bubba Burger. I don't know when I had it. I don't know if I bought them or if I cooked them somewhere else, whatever. But the bottom line is I had one, and it changed my life forever. So now if I'm in a pinch or I want a quick dinner, I can always keep them in the freezer. They turn over pretty quick because my oldest, the meat eater of the family, aside from me, loves Bubba Burgers as well. Why can't I like them? Why do I have to continue to go to 10th circles of hells because of what I like? I trust my palate. Trust your palate. But I'm not going to tell you if you eat cat liver that you're wrong. Oh, please. You're going to the 13th circle of hell, bastard. Eat your cat liver or deer liver or whatever it is you people eat. I like Bubba Burger, and I don't care. Unfollow me. In fact, sir, you're banned.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Hope you liked reading my feed, because after the show, you're banned. Guess who's going to the first circle of your banned hell? You. You're banned. And if you come at me again with that nonsense, I'm going to ban you from the show. Book it. If I could only go to my call screener and get his yeah. But I can't. Maybe I can. Wait, can I? No, can't. Damn it. Wait, yes.
Yeah, you tell him. You tell him. That's right, I'm on the phone. You tell him.
That was horrible. All right. Embedded Correspondence segment coming up out of the break. I'm a read behind, too, by the way. We'll catch up. Don't worry about it. Here's what you should do in the meantime. Get on over to Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Well known for the championship rubs and seasonings. Popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all proven winners on the competition circuit. And in the backyard, I use them all the time. Big Papa Smokers offers 13 perfectly balanced flavors that transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. Whether you're cooking to impress the judges or grilling for your family, Big Papa Smokers' award-winning rubs and seasonings will not disappoint. Pick up a bottle today at BigPapaSmokers.com. Don't forget about the West Coast offense. That's right, Big Papa Smokers teaming up with Simply Marvelous Barbecue. You know all about it. They also sell and own Granny's barbecue sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce that will please everyone, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavors remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. And aside from their premium selection of rubs and sauces, Big Papa Smokers offers the very best pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers available today. Are you looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use? Might I suggest the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa Smokers is the exclusive Mac dealer, even offers special packages. Nobody else can do it. Not a fan of pellet smokers? Fine. Take a look at in fact, Barbecue Pit Dude, not a fan of pellet smokers. All right, Barbecue Pit Dude, take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition barbecue trailer. Is that good enough for you? If you're a backyard barbecue enthusiast looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, the M Grill is just what you need. They're built like tanks. Travis McGee, building tanks that cook. Not sure what grill you need? Can't go wrong with anything that's offered on the website. They have something for every kind of backyard cooking budget. Clearly, Big Papa Smokers, the place to go for all things barbecue. Every product featured on their website has been hand-selected to help you barbecue better. Questions? Call them 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. Embedded Correspondents coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Smoking with Smithfield, committed cooks. Make sure to head to smokingwithsmithfield.com and report your first place prize for your claims of first place. Have you registered to compete in the American Pork Loin Ancillary? Smithfield just increased the prize purse to $6,000. Make sure you sign up for the American Royal site today. Don't forget the Smithfield Classic, which will be in Richmond, Virginia, on September 29th to sign up. Reach out to Jesse with Big Papa Smokers. That's Jesse, Jessie, at BigPapaSmokers.com. All right, here we go. It is the 4th Tuesday of the month, and that means the Embedded Correspondents segment is here and fired up. Gents, might I say, happy anniversary! Happy anniversary! Happy anniversary!
Well, happy anniversary, Greg.
Wow. Well, guys, we have made it. Us four, well, me and you three, have made it together for 12 months straight. How about that? How about it?
Unbelievable.
Doug, do you have any breaking news?
Breaking news other than the pig cake that you got today?
Exclusive news update.
The thing that we were going to say. Oh, jeez.
My God.
This guy. Well, look, I don't want to be a ball buster here, Steve.
I know.
I believe that the actual year anniversary is June 27th of the Embedded Correspondents segment. So you're a little tardy. However, I will give you that the three Cavalieros and myself do find this to be the 12th month in existence.
For us, yes.
Yes, for us. Right. Is that what you were going for, Steve?
Yeah. For us.
Let me tell you something.
For us.
If you follow me on social media, by the way, that's a very patriotic shirt there, Steve.
I like it.
I was delivered through Risk, by the way, of whoever sent that cake, that I would be in the work office today. And I was gifted, if you follow me on social media, go to Instagram at BBQ Central Show and see that delicious, and might I say, had to have been 10 inches deep chocolate cake. Wow. Thank you. I mean, unbelievable. It was, and by the way, I'm not a chocolate cake fan. That was delicious. I might be turning over a new leaf of chocolate cakedness. Steve, are you a chocolate cake guy?
I love it with white icing. I ordered you what I would have eaten.
Oh, okay, that's great.
And I've been.
You what?
I said I ordered what I would have eaten had I been.
All right, David Huff, are you a fan of chocolate cake?
I'm a pie guy, but I'll eat any dessert if you can't tell.
All right. Man, what is this new friggin' Skype is really pissing me off. I got to be honest. I can't scroll through the pictures like I could before. Can't do anything. I can't get involved with anybody. The hell just happened with you? God, freaking hate it. Anyway. All right, guys, so we got a bunch of stuff to cover. Let me scroll down here to my notes. And since it is the year anniversary of this form of the Embedded Correspondence segment, even though I think all of us were still around from the beginning, but does anybody, and we'll start with Steve, of course, does anybody have any favorite moments of the Barbecue Central Show's Embedded Correspondence segment as we look over the last 12 and 14 months?
My favorite part was after you did your NBBQA rant. And you went to the esteemed Embedded Correspondents. And you led off with David.
Yes.
And David dished your performance at the NBBQA. and then he's talking to you. And you go, David, tap your mic. And we've heard nothing.
Yeah.
And then you said, you wait a minute. You said, wait a goddamn minute. You just dished me. I'm not the one talking into a dead mic. And David throws the mic to the side. He busts.
Fake it till you make it, Steve.
Right.
What's the problem?
I almost fell off.
Yeah, that was a classic moment. David, as you look back over the last 12, 14 months, are there any points of the Embedded Correspondence segment that stick out to you?
Stick out? I mean, look at Steve's shirt right now. He never fails to impress. His stylist must be getting paid a tremendous amount of money. I just wish I could be like that. I mean, I have this wonderful Barbecue Central t-shirt on instead. So, I mean, other than that, it's been good times for the last 12 months. I've learned a lot and probably taught a little less.
Doug, your recap of the last 12, 14 months, some highlights for you?
I agree with Steve in terms of David and the microphone. That was fantastic. For myself, it'd have to be the hot dogs. For Steve, it would have to be the Hall of Fame sermon that he gave to us with regard to Charlie and being in the Hall of Fame, and which, by the way, he was right on that.
Yeah.
And Greg, I think for you, my favorite moment was when you said who was making all the GD noise one time at the beginning of one of our segments.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go with you, Doug, as far as segments that really stand out to me. And it seems a little disingenuous that the most recent segment happens to be my favorite, because here's the unique thing that I find about the Embedded Correspondents segment. The very first one we had, I thought, hey, there's something here. I wasn't bowled over with it. There were some issues that we were having. Maybe there were too many spoons in the cake batter or what have you. But I thought, by and large, there was something workable and pliable that we might be able to mold into something. And then we tried it again next month when we had a few less people around. We had a few more topics. We started getting together and sharing a document around so we could all have a quick peek, not know what everybody else is talking about, but at least have an idea so we could form our own rebuttals and opinions. And the second month, I knew right then and there, good collection of guys. Each one is individualistic. They are not all just singular competition guys or not competition guys. They're three independent individuals, three independent thinkers, and most importantly, from a show perspective, not afraid, not intimidated to jump in on anybody and say, you're wrong, I don't agree with that, and here's why, and we go back and forth. And the biggest successful part of this whole thing is everybody gets it, right? Nobody is hanging up the phone or hanging up the Skype line at the end of the fourth Tuesday of the month thinking that their fanny hurts or they got picked on the most or anything like that. Everybody gets where the entertainment is supposed to be. Everybody is bringing a great amount of information or opinion, and nobody's afraid to give it and then take it, which for this segment is absolutely key. So I knew the second month that we definitely had something that was going to be able to reoccur, and I can tell from the emails and from all the direct messages that I get that this is one of the more popular segments that happens. But getting back to the answer here, that hot dog, because it did go back a week before getting chastised by a Barbecue Hall of Famer and Steven Reichlin saying that I was going to be in hell, which at that point I thought he said tense, like tightened up, like tense circle of hell, and I'd never heard that before, and I'd never heard of 10th circle of hell either, by the way. So I Googled that, figured out what he was saying, and then Doug weighing in saying that he wouldn't let hot dog skin touch his grill grates, not even for kids. And the look on Doug's face when I was rebutting him and saying, are you kidding me? Doug hates kids. And he's looking around his room like, is everybody else hearing how crazy this guy is? I mean, it was just a beautiful piece of visual and auditory archive that will go down in the histories of the Barbecue Central show, the likes of no other. So that's kind of what I remember as well. But, gentlemen, truly, thank you from my part here. I got to count on 3 people to show up each and every month. You show up, you're prepared, and you're ready to do it. And, I mean, from a host perspective, I can't ask any more than that. So I applaud each and every one of you. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Greg.
It's a pleasure.
And we introduced nitrogen in tires.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's been downhill ever since.
The air out of the room. We said we can talk about other things, food and barbecue. Yeah. Talk about nitrogen and tires.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Steve's first appearance on my show ever was talking about how all these yahoos are going to these barbecue competitions and blowing tires and bearings. Like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Isn't anybody doing any maintenance on these things? Or you just put them up for dry storage in the winter and just roll them right out when competition season, hope it crosses fingers and hopes you're going to make it 5,000 miles across the country without injury. Steve laid it down.
That's right, it was.
That's right. That was a classic segment too. John, if you're listening, that should be a best of segment, I think. That was a best of for sure. All right, so
and what folks don't know, the best shows are every morning about 6:30, 7:15.
Yeah,
Too damn early.
The show,
it's too early.
The best show is the show that you never hear or you never see. That's right. So let's go ahead and quickly go through what we have been calling the. I'm walking it back a little bit, but the theory that there is a purposeful undercooking of steak across this country of ours. This is now the end of the second month. We have done an incredible amount of due diligence to be able to form some type of conclusions on this. So let me go quickly back around the table, and if you've done any more insight and or testing, tell me where you went, what you ordered, and where the temps came in, and then I think we can go around the table and get some final thoughts here. Doug, let's start with you.
Okay, I went to Myron Steakhouse, which is a nice steakhouse here in San Antonio. My wife ordered a bone-in ribeye at a mere $3. I ordered a just a regular ribeye, and she ordered it $140, and I ordered mine at $135 just to kind of see. They both came out. Mine came in at $135, just perfect.
Wow.
But it was, and then hers came out at $137, and then 2 or 3 minutes later, hers was at $140, which was perfect for what she had ordered. But then 2 or 3 minutes later, mine was at $143.
No way.
And one of the things that they specialize in is like Ruth Chris, where David went the week before, or the month before, they serve it on a 350-degree plate. So, and it was overcooked. So in summary, I think that number one, you can't go by color. Meathead told us that, right?
Yep.
And it all depends on the lighting. So, in the menu, if it says that, rare is red and, medium rare is pink and all that BS, it is BS. Number two, the hot plate thing, I think if I go to a restaurant, I want to make sure that they don't serve it on a hot plate, because the thickness of my steak and the reason it went up 9 degrees is because the thickness of my steak was about 1.25 inches. The thickness of her bone-in ribeye was about 2 inches, and so we could handle the hot plate. So I think that one of the main questions we need to ask is, how thick are the steaks? When we buy them in the store, I always want 1 3/8 or 1.5 inches. So I think that's an important thing to ask. No hot plate. And I think the grade of the meat matters, because when I went to, it wasn't Beef O'Brady's Steak, Steve, but it was Dante's in Great Fall. They cooked it perfectly. This was another test I did, but it was tough as nails. I'm out.
Do you quantify that up to the quality of the meat then, Doug? Because it was tough, cooked well, but just bad meat.
Yeah, it was cooked perfectly, just like their menu said, that they charbroil them perfectly, and it was perfect at 135, but it was tough as nails.
All right, Steve, go ahead.
I went to I did a David. I went to Ruth Chris, and I told the girl what I was going to do. I took my Thermopin, and I ordered a oh God, what's it called? Anyway, my wife ordered a filet, and
Porterhouse, T-bone,
filet,
keep going,
New York strip,
hanger,
New York strip, and I said I wanted mine at 130, and Barbara wanted hers at 140. And what was weird, they brought out the bread and the butter, and I temped everything. The bread was like 135, the butter was 125, and I'm just using my thermometer. And they brought out the steak, and my steak on that super hot plate was 87 degrees, and my wife's steak was 63 degrees. I'm not kidding. And we cut into these things. We cut into these things. And it was purple. It was copper, and that purple copper color that they weren't even rare. They were almost raw, and so we let them sit on the plates for a while and kind of looked at each other like, this is weird. And the steaks weren't as hot as the bread and the butter, and they never really came up to 130 and 140 We ate them, and it was, they were just okay. There's nothing. They weren't anything to write home about. And the warmest thing came out was the bread pudding at the end. It was 140 something.
So are you a fan of hot plates? I mean, Doug, obviously not a fan of hot plates. I'm not either, but I mean, do you care?
Hey, really, I'm gonna say this. I had a $100 gift certificate somebody gave me. I don't even know. They gave it to me like 2 years ago. I have and this is no joke. I have a philosophical opinion about paying that much for food. I really do. And if I hadn't had that gift card, I wouldn't have gone. And I won't go back. I mean, it's watching a bunch of young kids, try to treat you something special. I'm just not into that. And the steak, it wasn't anything that I couldn't have gotten a better cut over at the cross street J. Alexander's.
David, what about you?
Okay, so I did something a little different. After talking to the other correspondents and finding out what they've seen, Steve and I both went to Ruth's Chris, and if I believe every other steakhouse that we've reported on has cooked their steaks 2 or above the temperature we asked for, completely dispelling, Greg, the rumor that you had heard, except for Ruth's Chris. And so at their suggestion, I performed a test earlier today, actually. I went to Walmart, just got a regular choice ribeye, 2 of them, both about 1.3 pounds apiece and both exactly 1.4 inches thick. So essentially identical steaks. I cooked them on a grill, a gas grill.
There wasn't anything that I couldn't have gotten.
Cooked them on a gas grill at about 600 degrees. The temperature, when I wanted to see what would happen if you served them on a 500 degree platter like Ruth's Chris. That was the purpose of this test. Now, I don't have a ceramic plate. I called my ceramic plate, actually the company, and asked them how hot I could put them in the oven. They said 300 degrees. So I chose a cast iron skillet, but it should have about the same heat retention. And I heated it up in my oven to exactly 500 degrees. And I pulled both steaks off the grill. Steak A was 125.3. Steak B was 126.4. So pretty close coming off of the grill.
Yep.
I then put steak A on just my cutting board and let it rest, and I put steak B on my 500 degree skillet. I then temped them 2 minutes later. Steak A was 126, so it had risen 1.4 degrees. Steak B on the skillet was 130.6, raised 3.6. I then tested it 5 minutes in. Steak A had gone down to 124.4, so minus almost 1 degree from the original temperature, while steak B on the skillet continued to climb to 136.8.
Wow.
10.4 degrees more than when I pulled it off.
David, when you put the steak, or when you took it off the grill and then put it in the pan, did it sizzle?
Oh, I've sent you a video, Greg. I don't know if we have time for it, but it sizzled. I timed that as well. It sizzled to the 6-minute mark. From the time I put it on until 6 minutes later, the pan continued to sizzle.
Sorry,
and then I tested again at 10 minutes. And this is the real mind blower, because let's say they put at Ruth's Chris, they pull it off, they put it on the plate, and they let it sit there and wait before they bring it to you. The steak A, which was off and on the cutting board, 123.3. So it had actually lowered 2 degrees from when I pulled it off the grill at exactly where I wanted, 125.3. Steak B, that had been sitting on the skillet for 10 minutes, 149.3. Almost 23 degrees higher than when I pulled it off the grill. That's the difference of going from a medium rare to a medium well steak just in the rest for 10 minutes. So my hypothesis, from as scientific as a test as I could do at my home, I think that rumor you may have heard may specifically have been directed at a very popular restaurant and steakhouse in Ruth's Chris, who is probably purposely undercooking them dramatically to try to account for almost a 20-degree carryover cook on those plates.
Wow. I mean, that is absolutely mind-boggling. Doug, as you listen to David's experiment, are you shocked at the amount of rise that skillet steak had?
No, I'm because I would think that a skillet would actually hold its heat a little better than even a ceramic or a plate or et cetera. So I kind of saw that with my steak at Myron's as well. That the hot platter increased and I think it's directly related. I mean, mine was a 14 ounce, and my wife's was like a 22 ounce. So obviously extra mass too. So yeah. That's exactly why I think that you order your steak now without a hot plate.
What do you think about David's experiment there, Steve? That's pretty impressive.
Well, it was very impressive, but you give a 500-degree skillet and a 120-degree steak, it seems like they're fighting each other. One's trying to rise on the heat that it's touching, but the skillet is losing temperature as soon as it's removed from the stove. Yeah. So they're going to meet somewhere, and I'm thinking that's what Ruth Chris is trying to say they have perfected. We can perfect the steak, we can cook it to X, and we know how hot the plate is, and we'll put them together, and as one temperature falls, the other temperature rises. They meet somewhere in the middle. But that wasn't the case with ours. I think it was just sloppily done. I temped our steak too. I mean, I temped our plate. It was nowhere near 500 degrees like advertised. It was barely over 200 right when they brought it.
Well,
so I don't know what they did. I mean, wrong. I mean, I didn't complain. I don't complain. I just don't go back.
Bruce Chris is, the original tagline was steak, hot steak. Your first bite of steak is going to be, okay. The last bite of steak is going to be as hot as your first bite of steak. Like that was the whole marketing gimmick with that 500-degree plate. So they wanted you to have hot steak all the way through from start to finish. I don't think there was any more masterminding than that.
And the pictures that I took, Greg, I mean, I had an infrared thermometer, the kind, you point and you pull the trigger and point, and I know that the skillet was 500 degrees. And what I forgot to do was take a temperature of the skillet 10 minutes later. To Steve's point, he didn't think it was 200. But I can tell you, when I cut the steak, I did not cut into the steak until the 10-minute mark. And when I cut the steak, you could see the difference. The bottom section of the steak had probably a quarter-inch more cooked on it than the top section of the steak because it had continued to cook from the bottom up.
Right.
So no doubt in my mind, if they have a 500-degree plate, even a 400-degree plate, they better account for carryover. If you order a 135-degree steak, they better pull it off of the grill at 120 and hope that they've timed it correctly when it gets to the table so they don't send back a bunch of overcooked steaks.
All right, this is the Embedded Correspondents segment. Guys, stand by for the quick break here, and we'll come back and finish up with...
continuing to produce
incredible... It's been a day. We will... Where do I even want to go? All right, now hold on a second. Stop that. Hold on. We're almost there. Put that there. Here we go.
Continuing to...
No, that's not it. It's not it.
Continuing to produce...
Wow. I don't even know what the hell's going on. Eject. Go here. There we go. Jeez Louise. Happy anniversary. Green Mountain Grills. That's right. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. 3 different sizes to choose from. If you are somebody that likes to do portable stuff, you like to camp. I mean, I don't like to camp, but if you like to camp, you like to, college football is ready to rock and roll. So maybe you're going to be into the tailgating stuff, the scene like that. You want something portable, or you want pellet-fired convenience. Green Mountain Grills has got you covered with the Davy Crockett. And if you don't have access to your traditional outlet, 12 volts right from your truck, van, or SUV, all you need to power it. You're not sacrificing a tremendous amount of capacity in order to take that portability. Now, want something to go in the backyard? Okay, 2 different models to choose from. How about the Daniel Boone, which is the middle size, or the Jim Bowie, which is the much bigger version, or the bigger brother? Both pellet-fired, both 20-pound hoppers, both 5-degree increment sets. Both have Wi-Fi capabilities if you get that model. You can get secondary racks to add cooking capacity. Of course, my favorite part of the whole thing is not only are they super reliable, super easy to use, but you can rip the guts right out of them and put in the pizza oven insert, so now you can have a high-heat pizza party at your house anytime. You can do 20 different pizzas, 20 different ways, and they all cook in 2 minutes or less. Here's a quick setup. Set your pit temperature at 350 degrees. Inside the oven, it's going to be right around 700 degrees. Then adjust from there. I find my sweet spot to be right into that 320, 330 range. But if you want to cook at 1,000 degrees in the oven, set your pit at 500 degrees and away you go. Things can get squirrely real quick, so pay attention if you're going to cook that hot. But find the temperature that's right for you. They can also supply you with pellets and rubs and sauces and all that other stuff. Visit the website at Green Mountain Grills. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And we are back with the Embedded Correspondents segment. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via the Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. And we welcome back the Embedded Correspondents here. All right, guys, so real quick as we go around the horn here, just a quick answer, yes or no. Was my... You got to be freaking kidding me. Was my hypothesis proven or disproven? David?
I would say it was disproven with the exception of Ruth's Chris.
Doug, proven or disproven?
Ditto to what David said.
All right. Steve?
Disheveled.
We ran out of time in the last segment, but I will quickly go through and say that I visited 2 steakhouses this past month. That's right. One courtesy of Steve Ray. Thank you, Dante's, for a birthday gift card. That I would call Dante's a high-end restaurant here in Cleveland. Very exclusive. You gotta call, make a reservation. It's in a retrofitted bank. Quite the ambiance. And we've come to learn 2 things about my wife and myself. While perhaps we think we really like expensive stuff, we really don't like fine dining. I'm with Steve. I don't like being made to feel like I'm more important than somebody else, or I've made the best decision in my life for coming into this restaurant, or getting lectured by some snot-nosed punk telling me why would I cook a steak to this temperature or that temperature, or question why I have a thermometer in my pocket. Shut up, scumbag, and go take my dinner order, because I could have went right across the street to some other restaurant.
Beef O'Brady's.
Yeah. Nevertheless, there's Beef O'Brady's. There is a Beef O'Brady's right in Eastlake, by the way. But we went to Dante's, and I got the ribeye steak, and I asked it to be 130 degrees internal temperature, and she's like, I said, do you have thermometers in the back? She said, yes, they're all my students, and each one of them carry a thermometer. And the only thing I didn't like about the steak is that it came with stuff on top of it, like tomatoes and some semblance of weirdo salad and a cornbread pudding on the top of the steak. I had to get a small excavator to push that shit off so I could actually see the steak, which, by the way, was visibly beautiful. Great grill marks. I mean, I don't care about that, but I mean, from a presentation standpoint, I mean, it looked really good. 5 minutes after it hit my table, temped it. I had pictures, 135 degrees, perfectly cooked steak, flavored really well, absolutely knocked it out of the park. 2 weeks later, read the steakhouse, widely considered to be one of the prime steakhouses, not only here in the state of Ohio, but yes, in the country. Go read it on those magazines and the airlines. You'll see what I'm talking about. And ordered the prime, or the ribeye as well. Ordered it 130 degrees. Didn't even get questioned. Came right back out. I temped it 5 minutes after hitting the table, 134 degrees. So my summation is, I guess it's a rumor. Damn it. But I did a lot of investigation, and I read a lot of pieces, and to kind of counteract your statement about Ruth Chris, that was never even mentioned in any of the articles that I read. These were all super high-end restaurants, more based in New York City than anywhere else, like Delmonico's and some other places that I'm not as courageous to say out loud in case I ever get to go there and get free steak from them because I know who I am and they don't. But I am surprised, I have to say, that there wasn't as much undercooking overall. So for me, it's now a pet thing because of my OCD. I'm actually going to do it every time I go out and order steak, but not to be revealed here anymore. So by and large, my undercooking of steak across America has been proven incorrect, and we move on from there. Case closed. Let's quickly, gents, talk about the KCBS Invitational. I don't know if anybody saw this, but last week, I believe it was unveiled on their website that the KCBS is, you can qualify for the Invitational Barbecue Championship, or to qualify, a team must have received a Grand Championship or Reserve Grand Championship award at a KCBS sanctioned contest within the previous calendar year. So if this first one is going to take place in February of next year, you're qualifying right now. Maybe you didn't know that halfway into the year, but guess what? You are qualifying. If you didn't know that, you have the chance. Or finish within the top 125 in the overall rankings at the end of the calendar year. Qualified team head cooks must be a KCBS member in good standing, which, by the way, I totally agree with. That's a different conversation. Yep. All international teams that have won grand champion or reserve grand champions in KCBS sanctioned contests from wherever they're at in their country, also eligible to compete. So I saw a lot of positive reaction. I mean, usually when KCBS posts anything, everybody can't wait to take a dump all over it. But I saw a lot of positive stuff. So as guys that are competitors, I'm not. So I do have my own take on it. But Doug, you're not necessarily a KCBS guy, but what's your take on the KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship? Open.
Well, when I went and looked at the press release, I thought it was funny that they released a red line that had the date in there in red. So I was like, okay, Mike McLeod isn't there to proofread their press releases anymore. But that was just a minor thing. So, okay, I think it's good that they're taking the top 125 plus. You can, if you just, get a grand champion or reserve. So that way you don't have to, cook so many, because the cooker of the year in KCBS is so slanted to, the people that do it, 40 weeks a year and just are road warriors. And, we've heard Travis Clark, tell all the stories about what a sacrifice he's made, et cetera. So I think it's good, that someone can cook, 10 cooks. And if they get a grand champion or a reserve grand champion, they also qualify as well. So the application portion is interesting because, with the normal invitational, like at the Royal, the American Royal, the promoter actually has to send in the information in order for the grand champion to qualify qualify for the Invitational at the American Royal. In this case, obviously, since they're doing it post and after the fact, that's why you have to apply, because they're not keeping track of all that information, and the promoter is not pushing that information to them. So the actual team has to apply. So I'm for it. I think it's good. Actually, when I was in Montana, I spoke to a couple of teams that were at that event, the KCBS event there, and both of them mentioned the time frame that it's early February, and neither one of them were going to be able to haul their rigs all the way down across the country through Montana and down across Colorado, et cetera, in February.
Yep.
So they were going to go and perhaps even fly down and try to arrange to get, and one team mentioned that they were going to try to get, someone with the Jambo, et cetera. So they're going to have to go down there. They want to participate, but they're not going to have their own rigs. So I think it's, it's interesting the time of year that they picked, as well as the location, since it's really not centric to KCBS. But so that's my take on
it. David, thoughts?
Yeah, first let me jump back real quickly to the Open, Greg. I live in Bixby, Oklahoma, which is just outside of Tulsa. And the fact that you said Miami and live in Ohio, props to you, because half the people in Oklahoma say it wrong.
Damn right. I'll take it.
Damn right. So, I don't like what the KCBS is doing, and I'll tell you why. When I first started getting into this as a backyard barbecue guy, it felt like a cook-off. And it didn't feel like a sport. I got to rub shoulders with some of the best names in barbecue, and they'd give me some instruction, and I was right there next to them. And things like this continue to separate the guys that are doing this professionally with sponsorships and doing it for a living. It's separating it from the backyard guys, and the further the gap gets in there, the less and less interested the backyard guys are going to be in this event, in my opinion. Now, granted, it's nice that if these guys are busy doing these kind of contests because, hey, they've qualified or they've been invited, less competition for me and the ones that I'm in, but I don't care about winning these things. I'm doing it to learn and camaraderie and, to rub shoulders with the biggest names in the sport. You can't do that in golf. You can't do that in other events. Here, you can be right there alongside these guys. And I just feel like, the more and more prestigious the upper level gets, the more damage it's doing to the sport as a whole. Just my opinion.
Steve?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's overdue. I think if it was a library book, the fine would be more than a Jambo pit. I really do. The problem is it's not an invitational. It's a qualifier. They need to change the name to the KCBS Championship, plain and simple. This all came out of the competition with the World Food Championship. Competition builds better contest. And this is a great, great idea. Call it what it is, though. It's the KCBS Championship. It is the Barbecue Bowl. Simplified. Take all this invitational crap out of it. The King of the Smokers in California, that's an invitational. The Lamar Johnson Invitational we do here in Ottawa, that's an invitational. This is a qualifier. It's a championship. You got to win to get in, and you got to just let them know what you won. And I don't understand what this application is, but I guess that's just to let them know that you won. They have the results every week on their website. They know who won. They know who don't. They could put a stamp on an envelope and say, hey, Owl's Nest Barbecue, you won last weekend. You're in. It's a great idea. It's going to be a super event, and it is a great, great answer to the World Food Championships that are going to be held in November. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Steve, can you confirm that this contest was born out of competition from World Food Championships, or is that your speculation?
No, that's it's I don't think it's speculation, Greg. I think that's where it came from. I think it's obvious where it came from. WFC's getting more press than they are. The WFC's eating their lunch, and they had to do something to answer the WFC call of like what's going on in November. They've kicked KCBS out, and they've taken the IBCA from Texas, and the WFC is going to have their own rules on their part of the barbecue contest. They had to answer. They had to do something, and they've done a great. I think they've had a great idea. Whosever idea this was, is great. Hey, for all we know, it could have been Mike McLeod's idea before he left, or this could be the brainchild of Randall Bowman.
Okay, well, I believe that it has nothing to do with Mike McLeod. I think the guy's name is Jim Cole, or Cole might be his last name. His name was on the press release on the kcbs.us website when it was announced. So I do believe now. I don't know if Mike McLeod might have.
Jason Cole.
Jason Cole, yeah. So he's the guy putting this together and the one that has.
Well, he's a board member. Yeah, he's the board member from Tennessee. He just won the contest here in Tennessee last week.
All right. So, and he's also the one that decided on where this contest was going to be held. Not being a competitor myself, but following the industry and having had conversations on and off with KCBS through the last 10, 12 years, things that stood out to me are forever, the rap has always been that the KCBS is a sanctioning body. We provide sanctioning. We provide rules to follow. We make it so a barbecue competition in California is going to be the same as a barbecue competition in Florida as it is in Boston, Massachusetts. Why are they putting on a barbecue competition? It completely goes against what they have been saying forever and ever. We don't want to put on barbecue competitions. We want to sanction barbecue competitions. Secondarily, isn't this the American Royal except in February? If you're talking about invites and opens and all this other stuff, Steve, this is exactly how the American Royal Invitational is. You win a barbecue championship at a contest that's a state qualifier or proclamated by the governor, whatever the hell it is. If you win it, you'll get an invite to the American Royal Invitational. So is that an invitational or is that a qualifier, Steve? That's a qualifier, right?
It's a qualifier, right?
Okay.
But Greg, this is a lot like it's like the PGA Tour. You know the PGA Tour does not have a championship. Okay, the closest thing they have is the Players Championship as far as a major. They don't have a major. The PGA Tour does not have a major. They have to have the Players Championship, which is not a major. They would love to have a major. I think this KCBS is a major. And if it was Jason Cole, you had a fantastic idea, and it's going to be a big hit, and it's going to continue to grow.
I got two more.
Here's the other thing. This is going to be the inaugural event.
Great. Good build-up, Steve. Way to go, Doug. Good build-up. All right, go ahead again. This is going to be the inaugural event. Go ahead.
This show is cursed. What's going on tonight?
that was a cliffhanger.
The state competition of the NGS. So in order for them to get some publicity, they need to do an event themselves.
So this is going to be their marquee steak event. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that is correct. You have to pay
$100.
You have to pay an extra $100 in order to participate.
I disagree with that. I don't think they're going to have an NGS this year, though.
What are you talking? No, it's part of this event. If you go and look at the application, you can apply for an additional $100 and participate in the state competition.
It is this year. They're doing it this year.
February.
It's at the February.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Steve.
So this is another reason for them to have the event so that they can run their own first state competition.
Steve, I agree with your PGA simile, but that's what I don't like about it. When you have the Super Bowl, you know the NFL champs are the winners of the Super Bowl. Or when you have the World Series, you know who the champs are. What if they had 4 or 5 Super Bowls all with different divisions and you don't know? I mean, it never really differentiates itself from anybody. It's just like they're just having another event for the purpose of crowning our champion. I don't know that it solves anything except makes more money and, like I said, continues to separate people from what I think the purpose of barbecue competitions originally were.
Well, that's got to be why they're doing it as well. I mean, if it's going to be a moneymaker, KCBS has to be looking for different revenue streams to be coming in. I mean, you can only qualify 587,000 judges a year and, bank on that revenue going in when you're losing contests as well. The other two things that I noticed, in my opinion, as somebody who lives in Cleveland, Ohio, if this event is taking place in February, and as Doug just mentioned when he was up in Montana, bad time of year. I mean, I get that you can't have it later in the year because the established majors are already in play. the American Royal Invitational, American Royal Open, the Sam's Club. Wait a second, not the Sam's Club. The Jack. And by
Rodeo.
the way, Houston Livestock Rodeo. Attendance in the Northeast, Southeast, and potentially Pacific Northwest, like those places, probably aren't going to be as well represented as it would be if it was mid-year. So
that's a good point.
I think you have a couple of those issues. And look, I mean, it's never going to be utopia when you're bringing a new barbecue competition into the state of competition barbecue right now. There's never going to be a utopian date. But I don't know if anybody thinks that February, I heard a lot of comparisons getting thrown around to, well, NASCAR has their big Super Bowl right at the top of the season. Well, guess what? This ain't the Daytona 500. I mean, this is competition barbecue. There aren't going to be 500 million people showing up in short shorts and bikinis to go watch a bunch of fat dudes do competition barbecue. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So I would have liked to have seen a warmer month, but I think I would be not surprised in a year or two if perhaps the date got readjusted at some point. Maybe not the location. Maybe the location as well, but
what is the location? Is it Kansas City, Greg?
No.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Right. And I did see a few other posts, by the way, that threw out a couple different locations that weren't necessarily that much farther away, that would have been a little bit more central by people that were way smarter than me. But, just from my perspective and an outsider looking in, February seems like not an ideal month, although I understand, you got to get in where you fit in. And then, it seems like a KCBS version of I want to do the American Royal too, but there's already the American Royal. Maybe it's just a precursor to the American Royal losing favor and will start to trend down. And now KCBS trying to get on board here and salvage something or make something their own that is like the American Royal Invitation. Guys, we are way over. It is past 11 o'clock. I have Steve Ray from Ooltewah, Tennessee, Doug Scheiding from Bulverde, Texas, and David Huff from Bixby/Tulsa, Oklahoma, just outside of Miami. Gents, always appreciate the time. Happy anniversary, and we'll look for you again next month. That's the Embedded Correspondents, of course.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQ Central.
Come on,
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
There you go.
Yummy.
There you go. Marley giving me an ID. All right. Way behind here, so stick with me. Attention, anyone interested and who loves sausage and barbecue. Who doesn't? Let me talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue, established in 1882. Southside, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, and has been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, coarse, ground in a natural pork casing. The authentic Central Texas barbecue, something that cannot be missed. All meats, including the prime briskets, smoked low and slow for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. We ship nationwide via the online store, southsidemarket.com. More on that to follow. They ship fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. Shipping customers can choose to order now and ship later. Include a custom gift note, mailed to multiple addresses without additional charges. All shipped items are vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation. Shipped with dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All meats processed in the on-site USDA facility. On-site meat markets for fresh and smoked products. Custom orders available. 2 restaurants, Elgin, Texas. 1882, Bastrop, Texas. 2014, grocery distribution through Texas, many surrounding states. Here's the deal. If you go to southsidemarket.com and you make an order before you check out, use coupon code BBQ Central. That's one word, BBQ Central. 10% off the coupons, or 10% off coupon code for everything you order online. Southsidemarket.com. That's southsidemarket.com. Let's wrap the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the show brought to you by National Barbecue News, dedicated to all things barbecue. Their goal to introduce new people to the barbecue world while keeping the barbecue enthusiast and professional informed on all the current happenings in and around Barbecue Nation. They obtain this goal by offering timely news stories, new product reviews, barbecue event calendars, and unique recipes inside their printed products, websites, social media pages, and email newsletters. Subscribe now by visiting barbecuenews.com. That's BARBECUE news.com. All right, all the way back in the first hour, we talked with Pat LaFrida. LaFrida.com. Check them out. If you're interested in hooking up with some prime steaks and some prime dry-aged steaks, I suggest you give him a visit because I'm definitely going to be doing that. We'll have him on again, hopefully a little sooner than later. It's Pat LaFrida. Follow him on Instagram, at Pat LaFrida. Then in the second hour is the Embedded Correspondents segment, proving that the purposeful undercooking of the purposeful undercooking of steak across America is not very accurate on my part. We've proven that over the next 2 months. And then we also talked about the new KCBS Invitational, set to kick off next February or this coming February, depending on how you like to say it. A big show planned for you next week. Stay tuned for that. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe, first saying, and secondly, saying good night now.